الحمد لله الذي حكم على نفسه بالتمام وقضى على من سواه بالنقصان وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank the Almighty Allah for giving us another opportunity to be here today. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah. We also bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and His messenger. Today is a Friday, which corresponds with the 24th day of Safar, 1443 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It also corresponds with the first day of October 2021. In our khutbah last week, those of us who were present in the second khutbah, we spoke about Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and the role his mother or his parents played in, his upbringing for him to be one of the most illustrious imams that history has ever seen. But in the khutbah, I made a statement that was not correct. It was a wrong statement. And my father and my Sheikh Imam Abdul Latif drew my attention to that. And I have to come back and correct that statement. The statement was Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal used to pray Salat al-Fajr with the wudu of Salat al-Isha for 40 years. Even though this statement can be found in a lot of our history books, but the scholars of Hadith have rendered this statement as not true. So long as we are students of knowledge and we are propagating Islam, at every point in time when we make errors and we are corrected, we must correct those errors. So today's khutbah is basically going to speak about the relationships we have with each other concerning when we go wrong and other people correct us. It's very, very important we understand that we are human beings and we are prone to error. Let's understand that first. That's the premise. Whether you like it or not, you're going to make errors. And that's part of being a human being. And when you understand that and at any point in time you are corrected, you must accept the correction and then initiate or effect that correction. If you feel that at a point in time nobody deserves to correct you, then I'm very, very sorry, you're behaving like Shaitan. Especially when it comes to matters of this religion and this deen. The religion is an intellectual one. The religion is a one that deals with facts and figures. The religion is not hearsay, neither is it about our whims or our caprices or our desires. So throughout history, you find out that scholars make mistakes and their fellow scholars correct them. In this instance, a student made a mistake and then his teacher and his father corrected him. And this is the kind of relationship we must have with our fellow human beings, irrespective of the social strata or the economic strata. If we feel that nobody can correct us, then there's a problem. The Almighty Allah I was using the Muslim Pro app. You know they have ads in there. My hand touched one of the ads. The Almighty Allah tells us in the Quran in Surah Al-Rum, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ بَشَرٌ تَنْتَشِرُونَ. Amongst the signs of the Almighty Allah is He created all of us from dust, and then from that dust we became human beings spread across the surface of the earth. In the next two verses, the Almighty Allah says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالِمِينَ. Amongst the signs of the Almighty Allah is the creation of the heavens and the earth. وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, and the differences in your colors and then your tongues. Differences in our colors means our ethnicities. Someone is from India, someone is from Bangladesh, someone is from Africa, someone is from America, someone is from Europe. And our skin colors, the pigments of our skins, show those differences. وَأَلْسِنَتِكُمْ, and then your tongues. Our languages are different. Most of you are from the Indian subcontinent, but your languages are not the same. We are all together here in the masjid, but our languages are not the same. Apart from it being languages, the ideologies and the ideas or the principles we profess are different. I have my ideology, you have your ideology, even within the sphere of Islam. So definitely, these differences will occur whether we like it or not. When we are in this masjid, someone might step on someone else's foot without knowing. So the principle is that let's understand there are these differences, let's accommodate those differences, let's live together within these differences, and as and when there is a collision of ideas or attitudes, let's find ways with which we can solve them amicably without blowing things out of proportion. Especially when it comes to Islamic knowledge. The other point I want to make is that as young scholars like myself who are up and coming, we need to respect and revere the older folks. It's very, very important. Maybe you have gone out to go and study in Al-Azhar or in Medina, you are a mufti now or you have a PhD in Islamic studies. The old man who have been leading Salah in the masjid for 40 years or for 30 years or for 70 years might not have had that opportunity to go out and go and study. You have studied and then you've come back. That doesn't mean that that old man is useless or is stupid because you have had an upgrade of knowledge or information. Young scholars that are listening to us, it's very, very important you remember this, or you remember this. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, those who drink water shouldn't forget those who dug the well. If you're drinking water, don't forget there was someone who dug the well for you to have access to the water. What it means is, those of us who are coming up now as young scholars, let's not forget that there were old people, the older folks, who laid the foundation for us to come and build upon. If you disrespect the foundation that was built, then it means that the building that you're putting upon is useless. So the older folks in this masjid, in our communities, the fathers and the grandfathers that we have as our imams, as our scholars, as our fathers, are very, very important pillars in our communities. We, the younger scholars, should not only respect them, but the whole community at large must respect them. We must give them their due. We must respect them, we must revere them, we must admire them, we must appreciate the efforts that they put in leading us in salah, in preparing khutbah, in initiating our marriage ceremonies, in the naming ceremonies, whatever ceremonies that we have that has a link with religion. The older folks were the ones who were doing it for the past 40 or 50 years in this community for us. So the honors upon us is, anytime they make a statement, or they correct us, or they guide us, let's try as much as possible to accept it in good faith. We might disagree, and disagreements is a natural phenomenon within human beings, whether we like it or not. But then let's disagree in a beautiful manner, in a nice way that will strengthen the bonds that we have. Imam Shafi'i and his student Rabi'a had an argument. It was not an argument, it was a debate. And the student lost woefully because Imam Shafi'i, Imam, we know him, he gave his evidence, he gave his reasons, but the student wasn't happy about the outcome, so he left the classroom very furious. Later in the evening, the student Rabi'a had a knock on his door. And then he asked, who is it? And then he said, it is Muhammad bin Idris. Rabi'a said, I went through my mind thinking, which of the Muhammad bin Idris will come to my home at this time of the night, knocking my door? He said, I thought and thought and thought, and my mind didn't give me who it was. So I opened the door, and then it is my Sheikh, Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, who was standing there. And the student said, Ya Shafi'i, you could have called me to come over. Why did you come yourself? He said, this issue, I must come myself. What is it? He said, Ya Rabi'a, you and I have been studying for years. We have agreed on a lot of issues. Don't let our disagreement on one issue split us apart. It's very important. Some of us here in the masjid have had relationships for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. We've become brothers bonded together with the same destiny. But that doesn't mean that we won't disagree with each other or wouldn't have problems. But when the problems come, let's not forget that yesterday we had a cordial relationship. We had a very nice, sweet relationship. Let's not then allow one disagreement to split us apart. And if I know that I'm the one who is wrong and I'm corrected, then I must accept that correction in good faith, because that is the attitude of believers. If you refuse to accept the truth, if you refuse to accept correction, then you are propagating an aspect of shaitan. And may the Almighty Allah safeguard us all. أقول ما تسمعون فاستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. Mothers, can you please move forward so that at least we fill the spaces in front? Can you please do that? Let's move forward, please, so that we fill the spaces in front. Please, let's do that. Please, just fill the spaces in front. You know, the front row for males is the best row, and as you go back, you know, the reward reduces. And that's the reality. The front row, the next row, that's how it is in Islam. So the back row. So we need to fill those spaces in front so that at least we get the benefits of sitting in the front rows. We're speaking from last week's khutbah concerning a statement I made that was not right, and my father and my sheikh, Imam Abdul Latif, drew my attention to it. And the onus is upon myself to come back here and make that correction. And as a student of knowledge who is growing and adapting all the time, it is something that students of knowledge must learn. That no matter where you've reached in stage, in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your research, you will not get all things right. When those people who are ahead of you in age and knowledge and experience give your attention to it, you must accept it. There's an old African proverb that says, what an old man will see while sitting down, even if the young man climbs the tall Iroko tree, he can't see it. Let me repeat. What an old man will see while sitting down on his chair. You, the young man, even if you climb a tree, you can't see it. This has to do with experience and knowledge and life itself. So young people that you are with us here in the masjid, the elderly people that we have in our communities, wallahi, let's give them that respect. Let's give them that reverence, because they've seen a lot of things in life that we have not seen. Not only in the aspect of the religion, but even in the aspect of life itself. In the aspect of life itself. What we've seen, we haven't seen. The fact that we live in a technological age now, where we can make good use of these gadgets and they do not know how to use those gadgets, doesn't mean that we are better than them or we know more than them. You see, the phone, the social media, it's a fake life. The real life is on the streets. And that's what the old men have seen. Here you live in a bubble, you live in a bomb, that's all you live in. On the phone, you're there on there, hours on ending, chatting with someone you've not seen before, you've never even seen before. And enjoying the conversation, feeling, oh, it's good, I'm having a relationship, and then you feel it is a lady that you want to marry, you meet him and then he's a man. That's the reality. And it has happened to a lot of people. You see someone's beautiful picture on Facebook, oh, this lady, I want to marry her, you send friend requests and you start chatting and then you fall deep in love. The day you go meet, you realize that it's a man like you. And that is when the reality hits you in the face. So the older people, our fathers, our uncles, anybody who has grey hair, whose hair has turned white, wallahi, let's give them the respect. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, he is not amongst us the one who doesn't respect our old folks, and then the old folks who do not have mercy on the younger ones. The community needs these two ingredients to bond and develop. Any community that does not take care of two ingredients will not prosper. The first ingredient is the experience and the knowledge of the older folks. And then the next one is the youthful exuberance of the younger ones. If a community says they are only interested in the old people and not the young ones, it's like a body with only the head that is functioning. The rest of the body is paralyzed, it won't go anywhere. And if the community says they are only interested in the younger ones without the older ones, it's like a body without a head. No direction. The older folks are the ones, the head. They have the experience, they have the knowledge, they know how deep it is, they know how the water tastes, they know it. And then when they discuss these things, we the younger ones carry it on our backs and then we implement it. Then the community becomes strong. But then if a community marginalizes the older folks, while a community marginalizes the younger ones, then we don't have a future. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam blended these two people together. We find out that the Sahaba, they are of two kinds. They have the older ones and then the younger ones. They all sit together, they discuss these issues, and when there is a need for implementation, the younger ones are sent out to implement it because they were part of the decision making. And this was the secret of the fast-moving propagation of Islam. But if we say now that we the younger ones say that no way, these old folks, they don't know anything. We're in the 21st century America. We are using iOS 15 now. The latest iPad Pro that is out is something different. iPhone 13 Pro is on a different level. These people who are living in the 16th century, can they teach us anything? They have a lot to teach us, and they will lose a lot if you don't sit at their feet to study. And then the older folks, with all due respect, have that rapport and relationship with us, the younger ones. The way your fathers brought you up is definitely going to be different from the way you are going to bring us up. During your time, when your fathers look at you, you understand the message straightforward. But now you look at us and then we laugh at you and then we smile at you back. We are not getting the message. Now you have to change the methodology of how you deal with us. You have to find a different message, a different way of delivering the message to us in this time of the world, in this age and time that we are in. America is not like back home. No. If you're going to use the same tactics as you use back home, or it was used on us back home, we lose the kids here. You know, when the child is 18 years old here, that's it, he can choose to leave your home, go out and then go and find his own place. If you build a relationship with the younger ones, they will stay with you forever. The problem of the old age homes you have in America is because parents and kids did not have that bondage, that relationship, that love. That is why when you are old and he finds out that you're going to be a liability upon him, he sends you to the old age home and visits you once a month. But then if we build a relationship with the younger ones, especially our kids, our children, and bond together with them in the spirit of Islam, teach them the religion, wallahi, when you are even on your ICU, in the intensive care unit on your bed, he will leave his job and come and be with you in your final moments. Why? Because you have raised a human being. We live in a place whereby materialism is bombarding us from left, right, and center. And the need to make money to pay bills is on top of the list of our priorities. So we've forgotten how to be human beings. We've forgotten how to relate with each other. You come into the room, we are all sitting on the dining table and everybody is busy on their phone. Nobody speaks a word, nobody says anything. It's been a while since families had conversations because we are segregating and splitting up. Let's come together as a family. Let's come together as a community. Let's love each other. And when we make mistakes, let's accept those mistakes. And then let's be corrected. It's very, very important. And then in the way of correction too, let's do it in a beautiful way. You know, sometimes it's not the correction, it's how the correction is being done. When I made a mistake on the minbar last week, my father gave me a full lecture. Imam Abdul Latif, he sent me a full lecture of everything. It took me about 10-15 minutes to read it from top to down to digest it. He opened my mind to a lot of things that hitherto I wasn't aware of. So same way, if you're going to correct someone, your child or a brother or someone in your community, find a very beautiful way that the person will benefit from the correction and the person will not rather be furious or annoyed or hurt by a correction. Sometimes you have a good story, but how you relate the story destroys the beauty of the story. So in correcting us or in correcting ourselves, let's find the right choice of words. It's very, very important. Even if you are dealing with non-Muslims. It's very, very important. Even when you are dealing with non-Muslims, let's find the best forms of correction. And wallahi, you will find the beauty of Islam. And that was how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived. During the time of Makkah,
the kuffar, they did all they could in trying to derail the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they couldn't. So one day, Idar al-Nadwa, Khutbah ibn Rabi'a, Abu Walid, told them, let me go and debate Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let me go and debate him. You know, I'm a very good debater. When I destroy him, he's going to stop all this nonsense. It's no problem. So Utbah went and then he knocked on the door of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He asked who is it? He said, it's Utbah ibn Rabi'a. He said, come in, Ya Abu Walid. The Arabs will tell you, if you want to respect someone, call him by his kunya. Call him by his son's name. Oh, father of Muhammad. Yes, that's respect in the Arab community. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't call him by his first name, Utbah. No. He called him by his kunya, Abu Walid, even though he knew he was a kafir. He said, Abu Walid, ma wara'ak. What do you have? He said, Muhammad, listen. We're living peacefully in Makkah with you. Good boy. Sadiqul Amin. You are truthful. You are trustworthy. But then in the last few years, you've changed. You've brought confusion in the community. You've put us at loggerheads. Fathers and children are not dealing fine with each other because of your message. If it is money that you want, no problem. All of us will bring our wealth and give it to you so that you become the richest man in Makkah and then you stop saying all these things. If it is kingship that you want to be the king of Makkah, all of us will crown you our king. And if it is a woman that you see, that is why you are saying all these things, no problem. Whoever daughter she is, we are going to give her to you. The only thing we need, and the other thing is, if you have problems up here too, tell us. We'll look for the best doctors. We'll cure you. The only thing we need is just stop saying all these things. If it was me, obviously, we will end up in a fist fight because this is total insult. But he told him, our Ma'farabka ya Abul Walid. He said, Abul Walid, are you done? He said, yes, I'm done. He said, then listen. He read to him Surah Al-Fussilat. From top to down. When he had finished, he told him, have you heard? He said, yes. He said, you can go and do whatever you want to do. Abu Walid listened and listened. When he was going back to the people of Makkah, he was contemplating over the verses that he had heard from the Prophet Muhammad. When he got to the sitting place of the nobility of the Makkah community, Abu Jahl looked at him from afar. He said, we've lost the debate. He just looked at him from, he said, we lost the debate. He said, why? He said, Abu Walid left here a very confident man, but he's coming back as if chicken has been beaten by the rain. They asked him, Abu Walid, what happened? He said, oh, you guys, listen to me, and if there's anybody to be blamed, you blame me. They said, what is it? He said, leave that man alone. Muhammad, leave him alone. Don't fight him, don't persecute him, don't charge him. If he conquers the Arab communities, his kingdom and then his power will be yours. But if the Arabs conquer him, then they've done the job for you. Abu Walid did not accept Islam, but he went back defending Islam. So your relationship with even non-Muslims should be so beautiful that even if they don't accept Islam, you'll be willing to defend Islam. When someone comes behind you and wants to say evil things about Islam, they will say, no, the Muslim we have here in our office or at this job place, he is not like that. That's not the Islam that we know. If we are supposed to treat non-Muslims correctly and beautiful and correct them, how much more dealing with our own fellow Muslims? It's the topmost priority. But it's so sad that when Muslims are correcting Muslims, it's only about Jahannam. This thing that we are doing, you will go to Jahannam. That's the only thing we know how to do now. But that you find a technical way of correcting people for them to accept their mistakes and then even imbibe those corrections in their lives. No. Muslims of today, especially young people like myself, oh no, if you make a mistake in front of us, you are going to Jahannam. Straightforward. We are sending you there. But then, is that the way to correct people? Even if they are correcting the greatest of sins, how do you pull their attentions to the fact that they are doing something wrong and then we must correct them? ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا. ربنا فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم إنا عبيدك بنو عبيدك بنو إمائك نواصينا بيدك ماض فينا حكمك. نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في العلم الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا ودلاء أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا. اللهم من أرادنا وأراد الإسلام بسوء فرد كيده عليه. اللهم من كدنا فكده. اللهم من كدنا فكده. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله.